What is up, party people? Let me get this set so you can maybe see me better. We got the light coming in through the window pretty strong. That maybe work a little better. Trying to, as little as I move this thing, I sure seem to have to move it a lot to get it just right. It's like I keep sitting in the wrong position or something. But maybe turn this off now. No, I should leave that. Okay. Well, the Kickstarter has officially ended. Ended last night at 8 p.m. And at the very last few minutes, got a few extra pledges in that pushed us over the stretch goal to add in the bonus pages, which are 4 additional pages to the story that are written by me and drawn by Craig Babiar. And I started Tuesday on this page you see here. You know, uh, that was the Tuesday night stream. I was working on that first panel. Uh, and that was in case we did hit the goal. We have now officially hit the goal, so I am going to work in earnest to try and get these pages wrapped up. I'm supposed to be getting something for my letter here, hopefully today, but uh, we'll see. But yeah, so I figure I'll work on this and be around, and that way, if anybody from the Kickstarter wants to see stuff happening, watch Comic come to life, ask any questions about the Kickstarter or anything like that. That'd be totally doable. So, but yeah, pretty excited that the Kickstarter has run its course and has gone down successful. It's the shortest Kickstarter I've run. Typically they run 30 days. This one I dropped it down to 23 days. I dropped a week off the full schedule. I don't know if that was the impetus for the campaign uh, funding more successfully than the first two. Uh, I didn't actually break the number of backers and the amount raised from the first campaign. I was just a little bit shy of that, but this campaign was also a week shorter, and we hit this point in the campaign, like the funding where we're at, right about uh, you know, almost a week before the before we did in the first campaign or second campaign. So this latest campaign has been the actual most successfully funded, and the amount that was raised and the amount of time and the speed in which it was done. So that's pretty cool, man. I'm hoping that we've hit a stride here where people are digging the comic, are liking what I'm doing, and it's not so much of a question mark of whether or not I'm going to be able to fulfill on quality and timeliness. Like, I'm hoping that people are starting to see uh, that, yeah, this is happening, and I deliver quality product quickly. That's my hope, anyway. People can tell me otherwise. We had a lot of new backers that hadn't pledged in the first couple pink campaigns, a lot of return backers. So all in all, it's been pretty good, man. Especially considering all the crazy turmoil with what's going on in the economy and people losing jobs because of the pandemic and stuff. Really, really pretty pleased with how everything turned out. Obviously, you always want more, just because we got bills to pay too. But that's okay. It did really well, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So my goal is to try and knock these pages out as quickly as possible. Hopefully, it'll only take a couple days
They say
to get the
bonds are
coloring
like a
done. If
stupid
I can
company name.
stay
They don't look
concentrated,
right. But for 10
work
years,
today,
you've
which
refused
is
to fix
Friday.
your
I may
mistake
end up
and focused
taking the
instead
weekend. I'll
on
probably take the
filling
weekend off just
half-filled
so
clothes
it's
from
been so
cardboard
nonstop,
magazines
and I can
stapled to
spend
your
time with
door.
family and we just chill out
So,
and have
who's
have
stupid
a
now?
low stress
Us.
weekend, hopefully.
Still us.
and then I'll begin again on Monday and try and get those pages done before the end of the week. And I'm supposed to have another project show up at the end of the week potentially, so I'll probably try and start that. But get these done, get on to issue 4, which I've got 11, 12 pages of that colored, so about halfway through the 4th issue, and I want to get it finished before uh, what's looking like any of the big projects that I may have come in. So, there's still a lot to do, and I don't want to sit on my laurels too much. And I really want to start an Indiegogo campaign, uh, but one of those things. I want to do it, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to do half measures, which I feel at this point is kind of gonna be a half measure. Uh, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's mostly ready to go. I got a few odds and ends. I'll probably turn it on. I'll probably get that going up on Monday. I don't really have a market or a base in Indiegogo, but I think especially trying to maybe prime something for the next issue, the issue 4 launch. I want to go a little bit bigger than I did this time, because this one I was going as pretty low key, low cost as possible. I'm only printing the book. I even cut one variant cover. So I had one variant cover less than I normally do, and I didn't make any new sweet swag and merchandise. I just kind of stuck with what I already have produced, which all that stuff's really cool. I love the lanyard, the hard enamel pin. All that stuff's awesome. And so I'm gonna need to make some new swag on the next one. So I had a lower goal this time because I wasn't making as much stuff. So the next one, the goal's probably gonna have to go up again. The question is whether or not I'm going to keep the 23-day campaign. Like, obviously it was really successful for me this time, but I don't know if it's because it was shorter it was so successful, or if it's successful in spite of that, and if I went a full 30 I done even better and broken those goals on the first. I don't know, and I don't know if I can ever know that, and that's the thing that kind of drives me a little crazy, because I don't want to sell myself short. I don't want to sell any of you guys short. I don't want anybody to miss out on opportunity to check out my work, because obviously the more people that read it, the better, and I make it for people to read. So if I keep people from reading it by having a shorter campaign, that's not good. But I don't know. The last few days saw a pretty good uptick, but it also saw quite a few cancellations in the campaign. And that happens. That's not new. That's something that regularly happens. So it's just one of those things where just gotta figure out what I'm doing, and being that the next campaign I'm probably gonna go up in my my goal again. I'll probably go back to 30 days, I'm thinking. So yeah, anyway, I guess I'm just kind of rambling to myself. If anybody watches this in the future, cool, you have kind of my thought process. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get to work, because like I said, I need to get things done. There's a lot to do, but I'm gonna go ahead and tweak a little bit on this first panel, just because I want to separate this section just a tad more. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? How are you, my friend? I'm really looking forward to our meeting next week. I really am. It's going to be sweet. I'm really excited about this. But I am currently working on the bonus pages for the stretch goals that were unlocked on the Kickstarter. So The Kickstarter just hit the stretch goals at the very last few minutes, just broke $6,500. So that means 4 additional story pages are added to the issue. This is page 1, drawn by Craig Babiar, and then there's page 2, 3, and 4 I need to get colored. So that's my goal today, where I'm going to be working on this first page at the very least, get it done, and move on, man, because lots to do, a little bit of time. But yeah, for next week, I know we haven't set a day on what day to meet up, so we should probably do that. We are, dude, that's the truth. Mo money, mo problems. That's the truth. It's one of those things where I'm super glad we hit the stretch goal, but events that have transpired after I started the Kickstarter, had I had that stuff started happening before the Kickstarter, I probably would have raised my stretch goal. Not to keep from doing it, but not to keep from doing the 4 pages, because they're going to go in the trade paperback in the end anyway when I collect all the issues. But right now, I think with everything I've got potentially lined up, I think my best course of action will be working on issue 4 and getting it done. So, you know, but I've hit the stretch goal, which is good. So now I need to fulfill that. I don't want to short anybody on that from what I initially said, but yeah, you know, life has happened, and I would have done things a little bit differently, but you know, I got to stick with what I promised in the first place. But yeah, more money, more problems, and no money, more problems. I hope so, buddy. I hope so. I mean, I got a lot of new backers this time. A lot of repeat backers. Like, it's mostly people coming back, but I was very pleased with what I perceived the number of new backers returning in on this, or coming in on this campaign. Lots of people getting either all 3 issues, or the physically, or the digital bundle. So that's pretty. I'm pretty keen on that, man. I'm really happy with the way that performed. So that's pretty boss. But yeah, next week we do need to figure out a day. Monday we're supposed to have a new dishwasher delivered and installed, and we've got a window of noon to 6 p.m. So we're pretty much stuck here on Monday, and then I think it's Wednesday I have a dentist appointment. So, but that shouldn't take too long. So anytime around those will be good to meet up. I don't know where or when we're gonna do it, but we definitely got to do that. Percentage of new backers and from return backers. That's a good question. I haven't actually figured that. I can maybe get a rough guess right quick, because there was a lot of names I recognize, but then there's still people that bought that I don't recognize their names, but they are returning from, if not the second, even potentially the first campaign. But yeah, man, it was let's see, we're gonna go trio. There's 9. So grand total, there's I've got 188 backers, and I've got about 60 plus are buying the all three issues. So most of those are probably new backers. I think that's pretty safe to assume without looking too close. Uh, so probably roughly 30% or so, 35% are new, and 60 something are return. So that's not bad, not bad at all. You know, but yeah, I do and I don't want to run this Indiegogo. Like doing the Indiegogo is could potentially, get us a bit more, which is good. We could use every bit we could get, but I just really hesitate doing something so kind of half step. I don't want to, because I'm not offering any exclusives through the Indiegogo, which that's fine. That's not a deal breaker. Mainly because at least not until it shows kind of that it's worth it. I did the very first campaign. I did a follow up Indiegogo, made like $200, and like 150 of it went to pay for the exclusive that was offered, and 90% of the exclusive that was made was given to Kickstarter backers who pledged at a certain level. So, it wasn't exactly a sound investment. It was great for the Kickstarter backers. I'm glad they got it too. But I really liked that cover, and I kind of feel that I got a little shortchanged. That I don't even. I think I might have like 2 or 3 copies left. So I'll probably keep one at least for myself, just because I like the cover quite a bit, and that's just because that particular image was such a challenge for me uh, to get to look right, and I spent a long time on it, years, literally years, and I eventually got it. And I really liked the way it came out, and I don't want to. And you spend years on something, and only a handful of people end up getting to enjoy it. Not that nobody else. I've used it on other marketing and merchandise stuff, like the skateboard. That's the image I used for the skateboard that I offered. But you know, only did only made 2 of those. Both those sold. So I mean, even then, it's not a huge market for folks. But yeah, what you got going on today, sir? Hope you and the family are all doing well. At the office, nice.
They said Bombfell was a stupid company name. They were right. But for 10 years, we
At the
refused
office,
to
I
fix
like
our
it.
mistake.
Me
We
too.
focused instead on sending the
So
best
my
damn
office is
clothes from
upstairs.
top menswear brands straight to your door. So, who's stupid now? Us. Still
Get down,
us. Get
Moose.
started
Get
at
down.
bombfell.com/stupid for $20 off your first
Baby's
order.
sleeping next
That's
door, and I don't want to. I don't
bombfell.com
want him to bark and wake her up, because he will.
It's
Nice.
like I stay fresh with a couple
I
of
like
bars.
it.
My hands
Father's
always
Day
feel
sermon.
good when I
Good
use
call.
safeguard, and now I'm feeling jerk free. And this is what I see. It only
Good
takes
call.
20 or 30 seconds to be clean. I use safeguard because I gotta stay clean. I use safeguard because I gotta stay clean. Safeguard your family. Wash away germs. Safeguard is donating $10 million in hand soaps and sanitizers to families and communities in need. Safeguard because I gotta stay
See, you're
clean.
probably
I
more
use
skilled than
safeguard
I
because
am.
I gotta stay
I don't
clean.
think I could probably have this Twitch stream running and have me blathering on and uh it's a hammer, not a spear. But that's steel, John Henry Irons. Back in the 90s when they killed Superman for about a year or so, they had a story where there were four replacement Superman, and he was the he was actually human, and he's super genius, you know, kind of an Iron Man type dude, really smart, and he built his own suit so he could try to fill the role of Superman when Superman was dead. And uh, they actually made a movie starring Shaquille O'Neal that was horrible, obviously, because you know it starred Shaquille O'Neal. Uh, but yeah, that's a piece I've always liked. That piece, I like the way it came out, and I made prints of it, and it never really did anything for whatever reason, man. My Superman prints, just people aren't down with them. Like people bag on Superman, and I don't know why, because I mean he's Superman. He's the first, you know, and we got this because of him. And like I had a heated not really heated, but I had a discussion with a gentleman at a convention one time, and you know, I'm gonna say he's CrossFit dude because you know, like everybody that tends to do CrossFit, that was one of the very first things he told me about was that he does CrossFit. You know, sometimes stereotypes are wholly and completely justified. And he was there with his kids, and he's like, "Oh, cool." And I was talking, and like he just kind of said a really negative message. One particularly about Superman, which I'm like, okay, you don't like Superman, that's fine, but you know, it's just kind of his his reasoning, which I don't remember all the reasoning, but it was very kind of mean and just like I said, negative. That was the whole general impression. It was just negative, and it's just like it's like, bro, like that's fine. You want to like other characters more in Superman. That's all well and good, but you know, he's sitting there with his kids and just kind of talking about the horrible mean things about Superman. He's like, oh, he's a goody good. He's like, you know, I want my children to kind of aspire to the care and empathy and love like Superman exudes. You know, I don't want him to be malicious jerk like you know Punisher. Like, oh, not that I say I dislike Punisher. I like plenty of Punisher stories, but I don't want you know my kids or anybody else's kids to aspire to be that. You know, I want them to aspire to be Superman, to aspire to be Captain America. Not that I can't appreciate other stories better, but just kind of like he's in somebody to aspire to be, and it's just kind of like I don't understand why people want to be mean about him and just say really awful things. It's like, bro, this is like it's just you know we can get into all that. I mean, he's kind of a messianic figure, and you know, like created by Jewish creators. So it's like it makes sense. There's a messianic angle to it, as well as an immigrant, the immigration story and becoming American and being accepted. Like that's all yes, but like that's who you should want to be always. Like you should want to be Superman. And Batman's like, you know, Batman's the bad boy, like, oh, he's cool and mysterious, but you don't really you don't really you don't really want your daughter to bring home Batman. I'd rather bring home Superman than bring home Batman, just for her own well-being and peace. You are absolutely right. And bro, I mean, like I said, I'm a fan of dark characters and storytelling and stuff. Like, I'm all for it. I'm not against that at all. But same with like Captain America. It's just like that's that's who you should want to aspire to be, like of that mind, of that nature, not 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 something you make fun of and like look down upon. And I think that's very telling of our society, unfortunately. Our society doesn't want to be good and virtuous. It feels like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, but that's especially, considering the days we're living in right now. It's a very much, obviously, to me, people don't want to be virtuous. And the whole, I'm gonna nerd out just because why not? So everybody, like, that's one of my funnest things when I'm at a convention and we start nerding out with fans and just talking back and forth, and invariably, probably about every other show, or somebody always brings up like, well, who's gonna win in a fight, Batman or Superman? And it's just one of those things where it's like, I have a whole spiel about that, and it's like, the only reason Batman will win is because Superman lets him, and that's only because Superman keeps him in check. Is doing that to keep himself in check, and that's one more thing of why Superman is a better character and somebody more who you should aspire to be. Because think about it. No, I'm going there because it's my stream. You're here. Why not? But it's one of those things where, you know, think about it. The powers of Superman and what all he can do. People are like, oh, but Batman's got all these contingencies and all this. Like, there is no contingency for being looked at to death. And that's exactly what Superman can do. He can look at you too hard and you will die. He can go sit up in orbit, like, oh, look, there's Batman sitting on his rooftop doing whatever. Hold on, let me look at him from space, and heat vision all the way down and turn him into a cinder block. Superman's got super hearing, super speed. Like, at the levels that they've kind of created Superman being, like, bro, he could literally hear the tendons tightening in Batman's finger as he pulled the trigger on a kryptonite bullet gun, and Superman could stop that before anything. So it's just like, Superman would let Batman win strictly and wholly to keep himself in check, because he knows he is so powerful and that if he really wanted to, he could own us. And that's another reason why, like, hey, bro, like, he is the ultimate good. It's the perfect antithesis of absolute power corrupts absolutely. Superman is absolute power, but he is staying incorruptible except for those instances of, like, mind control or whatever. And even then, like, hey, when he's got mind control, I think he's still able to exert some kind of force to keep himself from going too far, because, like I said, if he wants to, he can look at everybody to death. They'll never know he's there. So it's like, oh, no matter how much lead shielding or whatever, I'm like, all right, if he can't see Batman in Gotham, he's probably inside his cave, so we'll just collapse the entire cave down on top of Batman. So, that's my whole thing. So that's my theory. Like, Superman would always win if he allowed himself to, but he doesn't, just so he can keep his own ego and stay humble and just be like, look, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to be that guy. So there, I nerded out for you. Thank you for indulging me. Most times I try not to go total nerd, but every now and again I just got to get it out. You know, it keeps me sane, especially when I have a captive audience. This an edge. Uh, I've got them. Usually it's only at conventions, but we ain't got no conventions. Uh, I have to see if I even have steel prints anymore because that's one I've kind of put in my discontinued pile because it just wasn't moving no matter how cool it was. Because I think it's a really cool piece, and it just didn't sell at the regular price. So I put that in the kind of the $3 bin, and it's sold slowly. Like I may or may not have finally sold out of the steel prints. Ninja Turtles I usually keep in stock. Uh, I haven't done any online just because you know I think that can be a little troublesome. But I may I'm considering trying to create maybe like a pop-up store event. Uh, kind of a semi online convention booth. It's just one of the things that's on the to-do list that I'm struggling to get done, but I may try and do that. Like I said, where uh, yeah, yeah, we can do that. Uh, but maybe I can do like an online pop-up store where I offer the prints and do that for like maybe a weekend or something like that, or a week. Like, hey, I'm having all my prints available. Let me know what you want, and whatever I don't currently have in stock, I can have my buddy print it and even ship it for me. And but I got to get them all set, and I got to get them all put into the store, and none of it's hard. It's just time consuming, and time, as always, is my biggest and worst enemy. But yeah, I mean, we could probably arrange that. I don't normally do that just because that can easily be taken advantage of, but I know you, so I'm really not worried about it in your case, you know. So we can definitely make that happen. I wonder if I could actually make I'll have to look into it. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe make it so I can set the PDF where if there's like a restriction I can set on a PDF where you can only print it once. So maybe I could sell prints that way digitally. Like, hey, you can't find me, I can sell this to you, but it would keep people from mass printing it. I don't know if that's possible. It might be. I've never actually kind of thought about that or had it occur to me, but you've kind of opened a and I don't know what in my head right now. I'm now very curious about this. because there's all kinds of settings and stuff in Acrobat that I'm not familiar with or have never messed with. So I mean, it may actually exist, and I don't know, but it may not
They
too.
said Bombfell
I'll have
was a
to go
stupid company name.
look or
They
research
was
and see if
right.
that's possible.
And for 10 years, we've refused to fix our mistake and focused instead on sending the best damn clothes from top menswear brands straight to your door. So, who's stupid now?
And if that is the case, then
Still,
that could be something that's
get
sold, and
started
then
at
somebody can then go
bombfell.com/stupid
take it
for $20
to
off your first
wherever.
purchase. That's bomb, F-E-L-L
And it's
.com
got like a restriction. Is Was it a PDF or?
It's like I stay fresh with a couple of
I
bars.
think I
My
left my
hands
water
always felt
downstairs.
good
I
when I
should go
use
get my
safeguard,
water.
and now I'm feeling jerk free. And this is what I see. It only takes 20 or 30 seconds to be clean.
I
I
mean,
use
it makes
safeguard 'cause
sense.
I gotta stay clean.
Like
I use
there's bound to
safeguard 'cause
be
I gotta stay
there's bound to
clean.
be a way to do it.
Safeguard your
I'll have
family.
to look
Wash
into
away
that.
germs. Safeguard is donating $10 million in hand soaps and
PDF,
sanitizers to
okay.
families and communities in need.
Because I know there's security functions in it. I don't know what they all are, but you got me really thinking about that now. I'm gonna actually let me turn that off. Should avoid that issue. There is a way to sell prints through DeviantArt. Uh, I'd have to look at it. I've kind of gotten off DeviantArt because their last few updates have been really user unfriendly. Like I don't I don't like pretty much any of it. I don't like the interface. They've changed the interface, which their last interface they had before this last big update wasn't my favorite, but it's still pretty usable. Clunky as all get out, but not as clunky as it used to be. And now it's just even hard to find stuff. Like just making a journal post is ridiculous. So I've mostly stopped even updating it, trying to direct people either to Instagram or Facebook or Twitch. I kind of just put up there whenever I'm like, hey, I'm doing commissions, or hey, I'm doing streaming, or I got a new Kickstarter. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like both the blessing and curse of our modern day and age. Like, there's actually a ton of options that I can do, which is phenomenal. I mean, it truly is. It's really just a matter of time and getting them all set up, and ultimately, I think my biggest thing I want to try and avoid is getting it in so many different places I can't keep track of. A good website that could accommodate that, like a personal website, is ideal. Like, and just one shop stop, and do it all then and there would be the perfect solution. My web knowledge is next to none, and I spent when I could last year trying to learn some WordPress. I dabbled in a little bit and got a little bit of success, but not a lot. I didn't get a lot of success during that, and ultimately, it came down to time where I wasn't. When I was able to work on it, it was kind of few and far between. So every time I'd revisit and try and learn more, I was basically relearning what I learned the previous time. And so it was just kind of defeating my own purpose of like, okay, I want to do this and build a site. And I downloaded a couple templates I liked and was working with working with somebody I met through the Kickstarter, Jeremy, who does websites. Jeremy Sutherland. Oh, I forgot offhand. Southerner. Oh, really nice guy. He's actually helped me out and kind of guided me in direction. And I was doing what I could, but just really the time and effort and what I was trying to learn, just unfortunately, as user friendly as it was a little insurmountable. Just too much to do, too much to learn, and kind of too little time to really do it well. If I could actually afford to have somebody build it, you know, and I could learn how to maintain it and update it, that would probably be a little bit better suited for me. But I'm not there yet, which is why I'm using Gumroad, uh, even as opposed to like Shopify, just because Shopify, uh, costs so much on a monthly basis, which it's not an unreasonable amount. But currently, my online store sales won't warrant like the monthly fees it costs to run a site like that. So I would really be losing money more than making money. And were we in a better financial position that was acceptable, I would do that just to generate that hub that would eventually grow into something more and dependable, and that people are like, okay, this is where we go for Wes and whatever he wants or has. But right now, we're not really in a place to afford a monthly loss in the hopes. I mean, I've had this Gumroad for quite a while, and I only just recently got it updated to the point where I was offering my comics and stuff. It took me a while to get there, but the Gumroad store has been live probably at least 4 or 5 months, and I have only just gotten my first 3 sales in this last month in June. Started on June 1st, so I was super excited for that. I was really glad to get some sales. But yeah, I would have had 4 months of no sales, and what I generated this month, probably about 2/3 of it would just go to covering the fees to run like a Shopify store right now. So, it's all coming. It's one of those things where you gotta have, the whole mentality of you gotta spend money to make money is absolutely true. And just right now, with the limited availability of money, I have to be very judicious of when and where I spend the money and the return on investment. So. Because then on top of all that, even if I get into doing the DeviantArt stuff, like offering prints through DeviantArt, which is totally fine, just what fees and stuff are associated with that. I've got to figure that part out. And, lots and lots and lots of moving parts, I try to balance the scales of what I'm between actual creating and working, coloring, making comics that I'm doing, at this moment with the business side, and there very much is a business side, and being a one-man operation, there's a whole bunch to know, and a whole bunch to learn. So fortunately, my experience in making comics for all these years has allowed me to learn a lot of stuff over the years, but there's a lot I still don't know. So I try to learn and get some more education, both business wise and also creatively. You know, a buddy of mine just recently turned me on to Udemy. I don't know if you're familiar. I'll put a link here, uh, or not at least it's probably .com, but Udemy. It's kind of it's an online uh, kind of online course site, work site. You know, people submit lessons and programs and courses on a wide range of subjects, everything from like web design and like web design. I just recently took a course for copywriting, so I could try and write better text and more engaging text for ads in Facebook, for newsletters, for my Kickstarters, and I've started putting that in practice on this latest campaign that just ended. Uh, Whether or not that is what helped fuel, if that's what helped fuel the really positive numbers, I don't know. Probably not completely, but you know, I like to think maybe it helped. And I've also recently signed up and got a course for specifically for like digital painting. So kind of taking what I do with traditional comic book coloring and try and take that to the next level, look more along the lines of like video game art and stuff, you know. And now it's like I said, time's the issue where I need to watch and follow along those courses and to learn what I don't currently know. You know, there's a lot of overlap between what that course is and what I already do, but there's still kind of a next step I'm not familiar with and learning, and so I need to take the time to watch that. And it's kind of a balancing act with that, where I either watch these courses and take part of these courses to learn more about what I can do to get better all across the board, either art or business or whatever, or I start streaming here to try and, you know, hopefully meet more people and let people see comic book process and coloring and ask questions and learn. Uh, so you know, I can only do one of those things at a time. It's not really conducive for uh, multitasking. You know, like I do like something like the copywriting course. That one I've been able to do a little more multitasking with, where I've actually gone through the course and actually played it probably through 5 or 6 times already, and they but I do it while I'm working, you know, as opposed to doing what I typically do, which is play music or stream a TV show on the TV up there. You know, I would stream that course, so I can do that, but I can't do it while I do my Twitch stream. But you know, it's just a matter of picking the battle and choosing and knowing what's going to work best and when. And I don't always get it right, you know, and that's part of the learning process where I gotta, you know, I just kind of learn and try and figure out what does and doesn't work for me. But the Udemy site, you know, if you go and look, you see their courses can be pretty expensive. Uh, but I've just waited. They seem to be doing
They say
sales pretty
Bomb is
regularly,
a stupid company name.
and like
They rule
most
the
of the
world.
courses I bought, they
For
were on
10
sale. They
years,
were like
we've refused to fix our
$11,
mistake
you know,
and
so
focused instead on sending
not
the
too
best
much at all, and definitely
10 top menswear brands straight to your
worth
door.
my
So,
investment to try
who's
and
stupid now?
better what I do,
Still us.
at least hopefully
Get
better what
started
I
at
do, you know.
bombfell.com/stupid for
So
$20 off your
that would
first order. That's
pay off for everybody, not just me, but
bombfell.com/stupid.
for anybody that supports
Movie night
my
with your
work
friends from
or
college?
comics or
There's a room for
whatever,
that.
you know.
Dinner with the family? There's a room for that too. sing-alongs with your karaoke
The goal is
gang,
to always
hanging out
improve.
with your high school besties, sweating it out with your workout
And when
buddies.
you get
Yep, there's a room for all of it.
content,
Introducing Messenger Rooms,
it
a new way to
breeds
hang
kind
out
of
with your friends on video
complacency.
chat. Share a link, share a
And
room.
this is coming from
No
somebody
Facebook account needed to join. See you here.
who's last several years I've kind of had quite a bit of burnout, and so that bred a lot of contentment and complacency, just because I was so very tired. Still am, but I've got a lot more. I got a lot more enthusiasm and drive, because just what I'm seeing and where I'm involved at and kind of where I'm at mentally is a little bit better than I was for the last few years, for a number of reasons. You know, not that I need to get into all that, but so yeah, I mean, there's a lot, man. I'm just gonna leave that like that, because then once I add the glows, it'll push that back and it'll be okay. Yeah, we're just gonna, we'll push those back. Ultimately, this, you know, this building here, this is what's important in that panel, and that's where I want to draw the focus. Same with this. This is why, you know, kind of draw the focus here. You can go back. I'll go back. You see, with all the effects and smokes and everything. You know, this is where I want the viewer's eye to go in that panel, and this continues that. So I'm gonna want the viewer's eye to go to this spot. The glows will help that. So I'm just trying to de-emphasize the rest of it, you know. And I did the foreground in this kind of reddish color to pop the fields, the depths of fields, you know, the extreme foreground. It de-emphasizes it, but also provides a bit of mood and kind of threat and menace. Because, you know, you see the blood down in that last panel. You know, there's bad things going on, and the colors chosen will help reflect that and convey that. And that's what you want in your storytelling. As the coloring, it's not just like, oh, do you know what color this costume is, or who this character's hair is, or their eye color. Like that definitely is important and plays into it. But most importantly are the colors that you choose to help create the feelings that you want, whether it's dread, menace, happiness, joy, sickness, jealousy, passion, hatred, love. You know, there is a psychology to color, and that's not something I just inherently know. Like I've learned this. Like I made a I'll move this, but I actually ended up not too long ago. There it is. So color associations. I kind of made a file, you know, where it broke down, where I went and did some research on all the colors. You know, warm colors equal active reactions, inviting happy, cozy, excitement, passion, aggression. Whereas cool colors are more passive reactions. They're calming and soothing, pleasant, relaxed, subdued. And then it goes down, breaking by specific color. You know, red is passion, important, excitement, power, you know, growth. But then like light red and pink is skewed more towards love and romance and joy and innocence. Dark red is when you get your rage and anger and courage, and like more of a rusty red, kind of desaturated and dark. Is kind of indicative of change or falling. Whereas green is balance, and light green is cheery. Dark green is kind of safety and money, affluence and greed, and yellow's skin towards more sick, and aqua is for healing and protection. So, you know, there's a lot. I mean, you can see. I mean, it breaks down goes neutrals, browns, white, black. So I mean, there's a lot there, and I don't always know. And sometimes when I want to, like, man, what do I need to convey? I may go look, refresh my memory, try and find, like, okay, what's the mood, what's the emotion I'm trying to get. So that's good to have on hand, and that's just my researching kind of color theory and color psychology. And that was all online. It's not like I mean, I'm sure you could go to a library or whatever, but I just did cursory stuff so I could kind of copy and paste and pull the info I needed. So I'm gonna go back and just remove all that so I can. So I know I've been rambling quite a bit. Feel free to chime in, ask any questions or comments. If what I said something doesn't make any sense, or if I did something you want to know a bit more about, or you saw or you don't know what I'm doing, by all means, feel free to ask. That's why I'm here. Again, see, I'm going more into this monochromatic section just because I want to lead the eye to where the color is the pop, like right there on that building. And since these are drawn by a different artist than the regular artist of the series, their styles are vastly different. My main goal is to try and emulate and reflect on what's already done. This is the main issue 3. This is page 1. This building here and this building are supposed to be the same, but artists take their own liberties. So I'm trying to keep the colors similar. Obviously there's differences. But the most I can do, the more I can try and keep the colors the same. When the readers see it, it'll help create the association, even though it looks different. Because oftentimes readers are quite a bit smarter than like your audience is usually generally smarter, and I like to treat my audience that they're smarter. I like to do what I can to make sure things are clear. But I don't want to talk down to my audience or treat them like they can't figure it out. And if somebody can't figure it out, that's probably more failing on my part than anything else. So that's my goal, man. Always trying to make sure it's done well and done right. Let's see, in a text for something. It's not important. The one thing I am surprised about the Kickstarter, though, is there's actually a couple pieces of original art that didn't sell before the Kickstarter end. And one of them, I thought, both of them, I think the pieces are both outstanding, but one of them is the Crimson Ombre character, who this 4-page story I'm currently working on kind of focuses on, gives him a little more clarity and stuff, as opposed, since he is a side character, but the events happening in this little 4-page short kind of bridge a bit of a gap between the end of issue 2 and the beginning of issue 3. So I think had this 4-page story actually been in issue 2, which that was entirely possible. I had the art when I ran that campaign. It did not hit the stretch goal included, though. but it did for issue 3. But had I been able to include it in the issue 2, I think it might have had a little bit more connection with the audience, and maybe like the character himself, being a fairly minor side character up until kind of this moment. Maybe that would have created a little bit more of a connection. But honestly, I thought the art was so freaking cool. I couldn't believe it didn't sell, which also kind of makes me happy because I want it for myself. you know, Actually, I got it. Yeah, I got it right here. I would rather have this for my own personal collection, but we're willing to sell it and raise money to keep making cool comic books. That's kind of how I felt about all the pieces that Craig drew for this campaign. Man, it was just all the pieces are so freaking cool. I want to keep them all for myself. Even Craig wanted to keep them. It's like, well, good news, Craig. You could actually just draw yourself another one. But they don't always come out the same. Oh, my baby girl's awake. She should not be awake right now. She needs more sleep. Her nap is far, far, far from being long enough right now, but she kind of... Well, thank you, Ray Leo. Appreciate it, buddy. I'm glad you hopped on and joined. Feel free to ask any questions if you got any, man. I'm just here hanging out. I'll show you whatever, but in the meantime, I'll just keep doing what I do. Hey, relax. My bushy-tailed dog climbing in the window, go bark at somebody outside. Hi. Are you a cranky pants? You want to come say hi? You can come say hi. You can't stay long, okay? Let me see. Oh. Do you say hi to everybody? Do you say hi? Oh, hey, Ray Leo. That makes sense now. How you doing, buddy? Okay, go to mama. I don't need you to steal my stylus. I know. You want to stay and hang out, and I'd love you too, except you kind of keep me from working. I know. I am so mean. I am so terribly mean. She is. She's very woke. Dog's actually doing really good. He's becoming frustrating again. But yeah, no, he's doing well. He's finished all his meds, so yeah, very very happy about that. We got him back out on his walking today. This is the first walk he's had in about a week and a half, just to make sure he was over everything, and he's exhausting, bro. He's a good sized dog, and he is ridiculously strong, and he really likes to go for walks. So he I spent pretty much the entire time fighting him because he just pulls and pulls and pulls, and so you just try and rein him in, and he'll go pull after a car or truck that's driving by randomly. Not all the time, just sometimes. And of course, he always does it when you're not ready for it, so he'll practically jerk you off your feet. And it's just like, yeah. So he's feeling better. He's feeling good. He's got his appetite back. So yeah, he's doing really, really good. Very happy about that. He's back to barking again. The nice incessant barking at leaves on the wind outside that he sees or hears.
When T.I. was a kid,
He wanted to buy a raunchy
But yeah,
outfit.
I'm glad you're here, Ray.
Wanted to hear the curse
Who
words,
knows,
bro.
man? I may end
The
up
high
streaming some
five
of your
you were
pages when
willing
I
to
start
go.
coloring them on here. I
To
don't know.
find out, listen to Mogul.
I try to keep
The
most of
show
the
we talk
stream
to people we
towards
love
skewed
about their
towards the
favorite moments in
Sasquatch
hip hop
stuff, just
history.
because
I was like,
I know it
yo,
won't get me in
people can
trouble
do
because I
this?
own it. But
God
you never know,
damn.
man. Like
The
I was
weekend,
actually going to stream last
tap around
Saturday
to
a
listen to
cover I was
flavor
working
from
on. I
the
got
South.
permission to do it, and when I started, uh, I had to
Dave
cancel
Barber
like
here, CEO of Rocket
right
Mortgage.
right
Making
then,
right
just
financial
because my
decisions
wife
has
got
never been more
stuck at the
important. When you turn to Rocket
shop with
Mortgage,
or
we
stuck
can
at
help
Target
guide you to those
because the
right
Jeep died.
decisions now when they matter
Uh,
most. Mortgage rates are
how
near
long does it
historic
take to
lows,
color a
so
page?
now is a great time to
It
call
honestly it
833-8
varies.
Rocket. And if
I
you're
try
introduced
to
to Rocket, a
average,
cash out offer
especially
match
when
could
it
give
comes to
you that
like
financial boost you're
my
looking for.
Sasquatch
Call
stuff.
today at
I try to
833-8
average
Rocket or
3 to 4 hours.
rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
There are pages that take longer, and usually like the pages that take longer, I try to make up for on other pages. And like, okay, what can I do to get out faster? But yeah, I try to average about 4 hours a page. Uh, it doesn't always happen. Covers I spend more time on usually, uh, except for when they just work first time and you don't have to think about it, which is rare, but it happens. But yeah, no, it's been a. Let me. I kept trying to develop an efficient style where I could chop that time down and move it down to maybe like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And I don't know that I was like, I don't know that I was successful with that. It wasn't that the pages were bad, but it wasn't that they were bad. It was just they weren't quite at a level that I felt they should be. They're kind of like good enough. They were never really anything to write home about, and that was a lot of that. I think was a symptom of just the burnout I was already feeling at the time, and it was really just like I'll just do whatever I can. I pretty much existed for a good while in the state of is it good enough? Okay, I'm done, and I didn't push myself as hard as I usually did or used to do. So I'm kind of back more into like, man, let's just get this going into the next level and make it better. I'm a little better headspace than I had been in the last few years. You know, probably in large part because I spend more time on my stuff than I am everybody else's, which that's a good thing. Though even now, I would like to spend less time coloring my stuff and more time writing and developing things. So, I mean, even still, it's not perfect. Not that I dislike coloring; I still like it, but you know, it's time consuming. And I right now I'm enjoying writing and creating more, and that's more of where my head's at and my heart's at the moment, and the challenge where the challenge is. You know, there's still hard pages to color, but by and large, you know, I know what I'm doing now. It's not so much easy, but it's not so much like, oh man, I don't quite have the same struggle. Not that I don't struggle, but there's still room for improvement. Yeah, I'm probably saying this all wrong. Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's plenty of times I just gotta walk away from a piece, and even your cover I just sent you yesterday. I finished it and actually went swimming with the family yesterday for 45 minutes or so just to get away from it. The page was done, but I didn't send it to you. I went away for about 45 minutes and came back and saw a couple more things I wanted to tweak. And even then, the cover I did that last weekend, uh, you know, I finished it and actually sat on it for 2 days, and then came back, looked at it again, made a few more adjustments, before I turned it in. And then I got a couple notes like, hey, can you tweak this and that, and then made a few more adjustments. But I'm finding the more I can finish a piece and then walk away for a little bit, uh, it actually really helps in the long run because I come back and I see a few more things. Even when coloring Sasquatch, I finished coloring, all of issue 3, sent it to my letterer for that issue. He went and did it, and I got back the lettering from him. And as I was like going over the lettering for mistakes, I would find coloring stuff I wanted to change for a variety of reasons, whether I wanted to push this or that, or this wasn't quite clear, didn't pop out enough, you know. And it was several weeks from even months even before on some of those pages. So revisiting stuff after a little bit of time will definitely help improve in the long run. I don't always get that luxury, deadlines are deadlines. So depending on what's all to do and the amount of time and what I can do, I may not get the revisit. It's just like it's done. It becomes good enough. But I'm glad you're liking it, buddy. I appreciate it. And I'm just gonna use. I should probably not do that because don't want to draw attention away. See, I'm changing these colors here because I think if I do the yellow light there, it'll draw too much attention away from the yellow light on the building I want it at, the attention where I want the attention. So I'm just gonna shift that. So it's there, it's different, it stands out a touch, but it's not too much. And that's kind of how I want it. I don't want it to be too important and too distracting. We're just kind of giving these a fill light. I don't want to do a whole lot with this foreground stuff because, again, for consistency's sake, what's already established, I didn't do a lot there, but I had a little bit of fill light. So I'm going to replicate that here, just to make sure there's a little bit of shade. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pop a little bit of edge like I got just to help set it apart. Yeah, Ray. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Twitch, but you can actually watch previous streams and stuff I've done. And what? There's multiple previous streams where I was coloring issue 4 of Sasquatch, and I've actually got multiple pages that you see me color from start to finish, and a lot of them range between 2 to 4 hours. Hey, buddy, relax. I might have to go take him outside. I might pause here in a minute once I get this page to a stopping point. He's whining at me, so he may need to go to the restroom. Oops, that's not what I wanted at all. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna come back. We're gonna bring these same glows. I'm gonna maintain these colors. Believe me, brother, I totally get it. No worries. There's gonna be plenty more. That's a. There will be plenty of more and more opportunities to check it out. You know, Kickstarter or no, there'll be the Gumroad, at the very least, where you can check it out at any point. Issues 1 and 2 are up there. I'll eventually get issue 3 on there once I get those in stock. Again, so like I said, I'm gonna just really de-emphasize these back buildings. We're just gonna push them back out of the way. Hold on, Luce. I'm just gonna see how that goes. We'll just kind of, it's there, but now it's clearly further away. Now these, they're not actually on this building, so I'm just gonna assume there may be these towers in the background, which is why I'm just gonna push them away. I don't really know. They're not integral to the story, so I don't want to spend more time on them than I really need to. I mean, I could sit there and just render all this stuff out just because it looks awesome. Because you know the work Craig did here is really phenomenal. I mean, Craig's just a top-rate talent who's I am incredibly fortunate to get to work with, and you know, I'm glad we've got a book that we're working on together, and trying to figure out how I want to color that book, because I don't want to do it the exact same way, but knowing me, it might just fall into that same kind of category just out of habit. Hold on, you're fine. Trust me, you're fine. You have literally just went to the bathroom before we started, so you can wait a couple more minutes. My dog is very demanding. He has an incredibly strong personality, and he's part half border collie, half Australian shepherd, so he's got a really strong herding mentality. So he really wants all of us together in the same room pretty much at all times, which obviously isn't very practical. Some days are worse than others. You know, so it's about time for his kind of midday restroom break, but he's already had a few today. But he's drank quite a bit of water because we got him back on his walk this morning, so he may still need to use the bathroom despite how many times he's gone to the bathroom.
Messenger Rooms is easy to use. Just choose a room and make an entrance.
But yeah, simple, easy. It's really the kind of the same thing I used on your cover, Ray. Violet Bird with the buildings. Same thing. It's not as intense as say this further background, because I really want those to be pushed in the background. But it's on your cover as well. I did with those buildings just to help push them back and have your character pop forward more.
Could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
It starts small. No soy milk. Almond is fine.
Okay.
But then your boss tells you to switch offices with Jeff. And when buying a car, you know you have to compromise.
Well, what about the all-new Nissan Sentra? It's radically redesigned with zero-gravity seats.
This is a kind of a technique I learned from my buddies Tony Washington and Dave Wilkins, where they just started kind of edge lighting silhouettes, and it just really makes them pop, man. It's fire. Man, okay, I'm doing that. I don't always do it. I don't know why.
All the hits you'll
I
need
should,
to make your summer
because it's
sunny.
awesome.
Brought to you by our friends at Scott's. Keep it green all summer with Scott's Turf Builder.
Relax, Moose. Relax. Okay. See, I can go a little bit more over the lines here. I'm not too worried about that because ultimately the goal is to just get them to stand out. See, just kind of. All right, buddy. Take care of yourself, Jeremy. Thanks for hanging out. Let me look. Let me know which Ninja Turtle one you want, because I've got like 3 or 4. So let me know which one specifically, and actually, and if I still get a steel one, whenever I see you next week, maybe we can try and get it hooked up that way. But I'm going to put this on the be right back. I'm going to go let the dog out. The one that was just there with the sunset. Okay, buddy. Well, thank you. Hey, Ray, stay right there. Sunset. I got you, Jeremy. I'm gonna go take him out. I might grab a snack or something to munch on, or I may just bring up my lunch. So, give me like 4-5 minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay. I'll leave the tunes on. Just hang loose. I'll see you later, Jeremy. Okay, buddy. Take you back. Okay, so I'm actually here. I'm gonna eat lunch. So, but I figure if you got any specific questions, I can still address them while I do this. But thank you for the compliment, Ray. I'm glad you like my coloring. But yeah, the goal on I try to take a little bit of different approach with each project. You know, how stylistically, I've got a lot of things I do that carry over even when I do different styles. Color choice is one, so I mean, so even if I'm doing a completely different style, like a hard selection or fully like cut and grad or painted or whatever, like I think you can still recognize my work just like other colors, because I've had the distinct pleasure of working with a lot of fantastic colorists and gotten high-res files and pages and kind of see it, and most people won't. I mean, it's just because what I'm doing, as a colorist and whatever. So there comes a point where it's like I can actually tell who a colorist is. Specific colors, not every colorist, because I don't know all the colors, but like specific colorists, I can tell that they colored something just by the way they lay their colors down on the page, even when they go uncredited at times. Sometimes it can be hard because you can, like, whenever I would fill in for another colorist, like help me to deadline work, I do make an effort to stylistically blend. Not everybody makes that effort. I don't know why. I think storytelling wise for the reader that's better, but I think, at least for my personal taste, when I read a story, I don't really want a huge dynamic shift unless there's kind of a story reason. Like when I used to do I Hunt Monsters, that was mostly a hard selection style, but when I had the characters visit or approach or go through like the astral plane or spirit realm or whatever I called it, I went fully like hard brush painted. And that was a black and white book, but I mean, it was stylistically completely different. But I had a reason for it. Same thing when like approaching a dream or a flashback or something like that. Kind of try and do things to make it obvious that it's not the current, like the present day part of the story. And then there could be times where you want that confusion, to unveil eventually that, yeah, there are kind
Jay
of jumps
Farner
in
here,
time.
CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right
I'm
financial
thinking of
decision is
exploring that
never more
in a
important.
future
When you
project
turn to
where I'm
Rocket
kind of
Mortgage, we can help guide you to those
looking at
right decisions now when they matter
delivering the
most.
story maybe in a
Mortgage rates
little
are
less
near
than
historic
linear
lows, so
fashion.
now
I don't know
is
if
a
I will
great
or
time
not.
to call
I'm just gonna have
833-8
to
Rocket. And if
try
you
it
need
and
some
see if
extra
I
money,
like
a
that.
cash out refinance could give you that financial
Uh,
boost you're looking for. Call today at 833-8 Rocket
but
or
yeah,
go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal
and if
housing
it
lender.
goes
License in all 50
non-linear,
states. NMLS number 3030.
I
My
may
favorite morning
use
routine
actual
is stabbing myself in the eyes with
color
putting my
to
contacts
help
in. Oh my god, I was
differentiate. Like
so
say, if
pumped on it
present
today
day, I
when my
might do a
cover
little
stepped on my
more
glasses. Snapped them right
more
in
blue, and in the
awesome.
past I might have a little more bathed in a red or another some contrasting tone. So while stylistically it's the same, the color hue can help a reader clue in.
Must mention this ad at center and be treated in June 2020 to qualify. Results may vary. See details at LASIK+.
But that's all the future. We'll have to wait and see. So I'm noshing on a elk loin steak I made. First time I've cooked one. Came out pretty good. Came out pretty good. Oh, we lost somebody in the stream. It's okay. Pardon my, eating and doing this. I just figured it wasn't worth cutting the stream for 10 minutes to start right back up. So, you can fast forward if you're watching this in the replay. My dog's begging. I gave him a little treat whenever I was cooking these the other day. I had them thawed out in a Ziploc bag, so I poured the remaining contents on his dog food. He really liked that. But we were watching Disney Plus the other day. They've got a show about dogs on there. They have a docu-series. And they had a bit about border collies that was working on herding sheep. And it was interesting because our dog Moose is half border collie. They had a bit of information that I'd never heard before, that border collies are like one step closer to a wolf than any other dog breed is genetically, which I thought was really interesting. Okay, buddy. You can lick the plate. How about that? Okay. Back to it. Break time's over. Yeah. So these last two panels are essentially the interior, like this dark area. That's these two panels. So that's why I'm going to just kind of keep the same color scheme. Actually, we do that. But to help carry over this idea that I'm going to bring in some of this light from the outside. Because I want this kind of to help transition into this. Kind of de-emphasize this area. Oops, that's not what I want to do. So again, just carrying over those same colors from the previous panels and page, I just want to make sure the reader knows that we haven't left this scene. Make sure that's differentiated. Bring this back up so I can go ahead and resample what I've already done. So, you know, these are really, really far back buildings again. So I'm going to maintain the same effect that I've already established in the previous pages. Again, these are these specific buildings, you know, they are set across the street. Technically speaking, there should probably be a little bit more space in the street, but that's a nitpicky detail. It's not really that important. Again, readers are generally smart enough to kind of figure this stuff out, and I think treating them that they're smart enough is the way to go. I don't ever want to talk down to your readers and viewers, and you know that nobody likes that. Nobody likes to be talked down to, you know. And comics is I believe a fairly natural story medium to understand. I don't think it's difficult to understand. I think most people inherently get it, you know. We all read left to right, top to bottom, you know. At least those of us that do. Obviously, the Japanese and Asian cultures, they read right to left instead of left to right. But by and large, we know that it goes left to right, top to bottom. So I believe it'll be pretty much naturally assumed, especially while keeping the colors consistent through the campaign, through the pages, the specific, you know, locales. I think people will get that figured out, no problem. I want to go back. I don't want the texture brush. I just want a nice soft airbrush, and just kind of want to keep this more monochromatic lighting. Most part, but we'll have the, you know, I'm gonna have that yellow light up there. So we're gonna hit spots. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I should. Nah, I'm probably overthinking it. So he goes into the blue hallways. Yeah. You know, that's page 1. Where's page 2? It's issue 2. Yeah, okay. So, oh, open. Okay, so he goes to the security office, he goes inside, sees the horrible things that happen in this other 4-page story. This is after all that. You know, as he's coming out, he sees the wanted poster on the inside that's lit. You know, he comes out the front door. So this is all happening. So all this blue is actually inside. So I had to remind myself, because I remember I went into the blue, and I couldn't remember if that was actually an alleyway or not. And I'm glad I didn't. It's not. So that blue is in here. There's a, you know, a poster, say, off camera, kind of hologram one of the poster. I believe this is probably exaggerated. It's too much. What? Quit whining at me, please. You're okay. Took you out. Had some of my lunch. You're good. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but since my dog got sick and has gotten better, he seems like he's gotten more demanding.
Hey, Wendy here from Science Versus. Our show takes on the messy world of news and internet fights.
He got lots and lots and lots of love and affection. He was feeling not too good. Which he usually gets lots of love and affection, but no, admittedly, he got a bit more because we were worried for him. And now now he kind of demands it all the time.
Listen for free
He's
on
a goof.
Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
A boy's a goof.
Science VS.
My favorite morning routine is stabbing myself in the eyes when putting my contacts in.
Oh my god, I was so pumped up today when my toddler stepped on my glasses. Snapped them right in two. Awesome.
At LASIK Plus, we help free patients from the hassles of glasses and contacts. Call 844-265-2020. Right now, we're extending our 20% friends and family discount to patients treated in June who mention this ad. 20% discount applies to Wavelight procedure with lifetime plan. Must mention this ad at center and be treated in June 2020 to qualify. Results may vary. See details at LASIKplus20.com.
The Samson Barbecue Grill is the official grill of backyard fun for you and your
mosquitoes.
Whether you're grilling for one or feeding the whole
brood of mosquitoes.
Our durable and portable grills are perfect for patios, backyards, and
engorged mosquitoes.
Don't let mosquitoes ruin the moment. Orchid, home is where the bugs aren't. Visit orchid.com to learn more.
Ain't no way to explain or say how painful the hangover was today. In front of the toilet, hands and knees, trying
What,
to
bud?
breathe in between
You're
the dry
okay.
leaves.
You're okay. I promise.
Some coffee, afraid that if I drink some, it's probably coming right back out me. Couple of Advil, relax and chill at a standstill with how bad
Again, the goal on these are just try and de-emphasize and push back elements, because ultimately what's really important in these panels is the creeping blood down in the bottom of the panel. That is what I want the reader, need the reader to focus on. That is the important story element. So the goal with this is, I don't want to hyper render this too much and draw the attention there, because I want the attention here at the front. That's why I want to keep the blood fairly contrasty, pop it, make it really, really apparent.
it shine. Sunshine, sunshine is fine. I feel it in my skin, warming up my mind. Sometimes you gotta give in to win. I love the days when it shines. Whoa, let it shine.
Good boy, Moose.
Whoa, let it shine.
Good boy.
Whoa, let it shine. Whoa, let it shine.
But again, for storytelling elements, I'm going to bring in like the smoky effect I had in this first panel, because that will also serve to push back, and it'll look a little more natural than just a straight up gradient in these mid-ground buildings. And then I can also include a glow.
Good times, and you can feel it in the fashion. Even though the heat cooks up the action, the streets still got butterflies, enough kids to catch them. Riding my bike around these lakes, man, feeling like I finally figured out my escape plan. Take it all in. The day started off all wrong, but somehow now that hangover is all gone. Ain't nothing like the sound of the leaves when the breeze penetrates these southside trees. Leaning up against one,
I don't think Craig copy and pasted these panels because it's not his usual forte. The man's a workhorse. He doesn't tend to take shortcuts, but I'm gonna try and take a shortcut and just make that work. See, it doesn't line up perfectly, but that's okay. I can adjust it, and it'll do more than enough the same thing. So it'll save me a little bit of work. You know. I need to bring back the Well, I probably should have saved the selection on these more or less. I can just deselect what's already there. Probably work fine. I'm gonna add a to do my again because they're the not just saying hey, you all right? He's really not happy that we're not all together right now. Like he really just wants us to be all in the same room. And I get it. That would be nice. Though being all in the same room means I'm not going to get work done because baby girl does not really let me work. She demands attention. Rightly so. He deserves all my attention. But that can't happen all the time. It just can't. It would be nice. We got paid for just doing that. That would be cool. But we don't. We get paid for making comics. So that's where I gotta do it. Okay. Whatever I'm gonna do with the blood is what I need to do now. And this is one of those, I don't want it to be too bright, but I do need it to contrast. So what I think I'm probably going to do is have to isolate the layer. Okay, so to begin with, I think I'll probably skew a bit of blue lighting. Need to find the right blue though. So this might defeat my purpose of contrasting it out, but I have an idea, and I don't know if it's gonna work until I do it. So I'm gonna try it and find out. Okay, that doesn't work. It defeats the purpose. Wasn't sure. I had a pretty sneaking suspicion it wasn't going to do exactly what it was going to do, but it was one of those things I wanted to try just to see. But I think it was taking away the attention of what I don't want. So I'll do my base rendering on these, and I'll get into the shines, and then I'll probably add in a bit of splatter. We had a few people pop in the view today. You know, it's funny. I ran a survey among my newsletter followers to see when would be the best time to stream, and overwhelmingly the evening, nighttime won. And I do that Tuesday nights. But it really is becoming more and more apparent that I am definitely getting much more viewership and attending during my random daytime streams. Like, despite the overwhelming majority of people wanting the evening, nighttime stream, I don't show up for them much. So I'll maintain a nighttime stream, but I'm going to probably focus more of my effort on getting the daytime streams better. Maybe I'll set a specific daytime stream. You know, instead of it being so random, maybe just set a specific time. I haven't done that yet because there are a potential few jobs that are lined up that are probably what I'll end up working on during the day. Some of those, if not all of them, probably won't be able to share streaming while I work on them. Just, non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. They may not be, but I think for sure one of them, if not two of them, will be will be of that nature, even if there's not a formal NDA, just kind of a verbal one where it's like, hey, we're not showing this off until whenever. So if I work on that during the day, that's not going to be, I'd have to maybe take time out to work on this during the daytime streams. And I'm trying to keep the daytime stream, or at least the daytime work, you know, really focused on getting any and all paying jobs out of the way. And whenever those are wrapped up, do the work on Sasquatch and get this stuff done. And during the nighttime streams, I try to keep that Sasquatch focused. I'll have some pieces here and there. I've got a fantastic 4-piece that Craig drew that I'm likely going to live stream as I work on it. That's not necessarily a paying gig, but it kind of is. It's for my artist representation, Invasion Media, the guys that help try and get me booked at conventions and stuff. So I mean, it's for them as kind of a payment for helping. Or there aren't any conventions right now, so it's. But I definitely want to get it done before there's too much of a blog or build up of stuff for conventions. I have a sneaking suspicion when conventions start really being able to come back and get going.
Listen, I thought if I fed it, it would go away, but now it is
people are going to want to have a lot of new stuff to show, or are already working on a lot of new stuff or get stuff colored, and that's kind of my hope too, is that it's going to happen. I'm going to hopefully have more new stuff, not just comics, but maybe more new pieces. So that's what I'm also on the lookout. Just to really, hopefully, when we come back into full operation, have a lot of new stuff for people to be like, oh yeah, man. You know. Essentially like 2 years worth of new material, where it's like, hey, they might get 1 year stuff. Well, technically you'll probably get 2 years or more worth of new stuff by the time they see you again at a convention, if you've been to it. Because I got a couple regular conventions. If it's been, if they're not happening this year, so next year I'm going to be 2 years between shows. I want to have at least 2 years worth of new merchandise and new stuff, if not more. So I may be reaching out to some more of my buddies that I work on prints and commissions with and be like, hey, I want to get a jump on this, and you can too. And we'll have a bunch of new stuff together. Because we don't go to a lot of the same shows, because we're located in different parts of the country. Have some Fritos, bro. Have some Fritos. Okay. So I'm going to go more or less call this page wrapped. Teeth right. Let's call it cheek. You know, even though these are technically my characters, I still make mistakes in my flats. You know, it happens. That's alright, as long as you gotta fix them. Get down, bud. Moose, get down. There you go. Good boy. Okay, so I'll get that more or less established. I'm going to Yes. Hi, what do you need? Man, he's giving me the eyes today. Now, like I was talking about with Ray a little while ago, I'll probably revisit this page in a day or two. You know, after I finish another page or two, or wait till they're all done, and then maybe go back and go over and try and spruce it up where I can see what may or may not need to be adjusted and improved. Time away will always help make things a little bit better. If you can afford the time to step away for a bit and revisit, it'll make your page better. Technically should be a different color. Okay, so he's still pretty much wearing the kind of base prisoner outfit, white outfit that Sasquatch and Trax and everybody else are wearing. Greg added his own little touch, which I actually really like. You know. But it's pretty much white and kind of an off-white. Now, obviously, this is not white. I feel like the base tone is not going to be white. And considering the color of the previous page and the light falling down, none of that's really going to be white. So, setting this as my base tone, it may get adjusted as I go through. These were going to be obviously I don't really want the fixtures and wall mounts and stuff to be the same color as his costume. That would not be good. Firstly, where that is, I think D should actually be a little lighter. So, because the buckles from the other pages, when I've colored him in this suit, they are darker than his white outfit. So needs to carry through.
Aim for the sky and let a few fly. In due time, gonna get right. There's no loose ties. I'm not the new guy.
You have these as kind of a bluish tint on.
The other one stirs your melting pot. And if I had a third hand, I'd use it to turn up the music louder, louder. You like to complain, huh? You gonna hide till the rain comes. Feel my shine. I'm the same sun.
Yeah, I'm gonna start that as the base. Won't stay that. I'm gonna go a bit darker. It's gonna be for it's got a gunmetal gray.
So we can steal the feast out of the beast's belly. We ain't gon' die today. Right now I'm wide awake. Tell her that the devil got a price to pay. Letter by letter, all I'm trying to say that we ain't gon' die today. Right now I'm wide awake. Rock solid, head held high, hands stay clean till the well go dry. Right now I'm wide awake. Right now I'm wide awake. Right now I'm wide awake.
Really dark.
Hands stay clean till the well go dry. One wheel for the
It's
clock
there.
that we live within. I feel like your father, discipline. It's unconvincing when I tell him that hell ain't nothing but a place in Michigan. Two wheels.
Okay, so I'm gonna use that as the base flesh tone. But again, he's in kind of a darkened area. There is light, so I'm gonna want the base of his flesh tone to kind of reflect a bit more of where he's at. He's coming out of this blue realm. Kind of want to take a little bit of heat out of his flesh tone, because the highlights are going to be more based in yellows and reds. Kind of the same on his flesh. Should actually be a little touch of more green.
Right now I'm wide awake. Tell her that the devil got a price to pay. Letter by letter, all I'm trying to say that we ain't gon' die today. Right now I'm wide awake. Rock solid, head held high, hands stay clean till the well go dry. Right now I'm wide awake. Right now I'm wide awake.
I got this green. So shit. I'm gonna just fill a little bit, overlay. Just yeah, and then it carries in more of that base background color. The goal is to make sure it sits in the same world, you know? Like, take liberties, yes. But I want to start everything in the same world, same value, same tone, and then I can go and maybe extrapolate and go into different areas after that. It's kind of, like I said, when we get this light coming down, you know, it's the light in this, you know, kind of same here, drawn differently, but I'm trying to keep that light consistent. So I'm just gonna base that do the gradient set on screen. Start with, just come in and look a little bit of not so much imperfections, but just kind of help give it a little more of a metallic flavor layer, I guess. Because I don't want it to be the same color or feel as the wall, whatever the wall's made of. You know, whether it's a stucco-like substance or what. It's just I want to try and give the idea of just a little bit different, you know. See, I'll keep it a little darker, but I'll still have the glow going over the top of that, so I'll pop that and it'll look good.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Summer's here, and it's time to enjoy the season. That means it's time to feed your yard with Scott's. It's easy to help your lawn stand up to summer's wear and tear, to keep it lush and green and help prevent those brown spots. It's time to get outside and enjoy every day. And Scott's has got you covered, because even though this summer may feel different, the best things never change. So let's get to it. It's time to enjoy your yard. Tap for more info about Scott's.
Okay. So here's the there. So I use this filter in the program GIMP to try and do some auto flats to see if it would make things easier. I don't know that it did. Not that it couldn't. I think potentially with all the hatching that Craig employs, it's probably not the most effective technique. It definitely can be time saving. I don't know that it was in this instance, and it was my first time using it. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of different settings, and I could probably play with it for 2 hours to try and really dial it in, but if I'm spending that much time trying to dial in a filter to make me do less work, I could do the same amount of work or more in that same amount of time. So that's kind of the challenge. Mostly, if this stuff's covered by the lines, it won't really make a difference. But I get kind of a little OCD about it. I don't know why. I'm not really OCD about much of anything, but for whatever reason, I really like my flats clean. And having them not be clean, even though it truly doesn't matter, and I know this 1,000,000%, still bothers me. And then there's always that little bit that will show through and don't expect. It's part of the reason why it just kind of bothers me. Why did they do that? You know, if you watch before, you've heard me talk about I tend to just kind of go and establish my lighting, and I didn't do that this time first. Like I just got into coloring, and that's how I usually approach most project. I just get going and I start, and then I start to do it. So I'm actually still gonna do that. I just kind of did it out of order. Okay, so there's a light coming. See, I may try and this might be outside my skill set, but I kind of want to keep his face shadowed, but indicate, you know, hey, he's stepping through. You know what I mean? So if I'm gonna do this, I'll probably end up having one of my buddies who's a little more proficient in the style check it out, see if it works. I mean, there's entirely likely I'll figure it out without needing to do that. I mean, it's not that I'm incapable. But you know, when you want your stuff to look really good, you want it to look really good. You know. Oh, I want that there. Okay, you see that it's feathered. It's got that blur. I don't want that because whenever I do apply it, it's not gonna. I want the hard edge specifically. Just there. Just trying to play into the lines. Greg's done a lot of work already with the hatching, so kind of what you like and what you don't like is kind of the trick to this whole style. And again, trying to utilize the line art as much as possible as indicated, especially because he's indicated such strong lighting already. I'm doing a little bit kind of not against the line art, but kind of adding a little more complication to it. So this is why my idea of the having his head and stuff recessed back into the shadows and then being revealed may not work, just because how strong the rendering is. But I want to try it, you know. And that's kind of the nature of coloring, is you have to try things, even if they don't work. It's not so much a wasted effort, because you know, if you have the ability to take it to kind of the next level, you know, that's kind of what makes you good. And you can settle and be okay. If you want to be really good, you gotta sometimes just gamble and find out whether or not a really cool idea is worthwhile. Sometimes you just gotta sit and mess with a color, find the exact one. Like, oh, this is blue, but is there a better blue that would just make it work? And you sit and play, and that can be hard to do because it can be a little tedious. I'm not gonna say it's not going to be, you know, it definitely can, but it's a lot easier to do that digitally than it is, say, if you were traditionally painting it. And if you have that time, inclination, that's what's going to make you better. And I've spent a lot of time doing and being both. Looking to find that extra bit just to really make a piece sing. And then also just kind of calling it a day and moving on, you know. Because not even because I was running out of time, but just because I just wanted to be done. You know. And as somebody that prides himself on his work ethic, you know, that's not always, you know, that's not good enough for me. I can acknowledge that and know that that's what I did, and be honest to myself about it. I can also know I can fix it. Burnout's entirely real and very, very, very dangerous. Seeing me kind of do this approach, maybe help learn. Like I said, I usually do this part first, just find it easier, but it's really just kind of in a coloring mode, so that's why I so we go. This is kind of the central. You see his legs get pretty in shadow, so I don't want to try and put a lot down here. I want to help emphasize the fall off the light. See, this leg's a little further back, you know, so I remember this being on my stream on the Twitch music for something other than. Oh, I guess I ran through my whole thing. I'm not supposed to play that. I guess it's just moved on. I didn't know it did that. Okay. I'd rather play other music than this stuff, but I don't want to go in Twitch jail.
Geico has the insurance industry leading app that lets you manage your policy anytime, anywhere, which means that Geico is always there for you. If only everyone was always there for you. Like animal control, when you're cornered in your garage by an angry possum.
Hi, me again. You guys said you would be here about an hour ago, and I think the possum is starting to get angry. Listen, I thought if I fed it, it would go away, but now it is ripping holes in the drywall and making some sort of nest. Just call me back.
Geico, always there for you with savings and the industry-leading mobile app.
You've been camping in your backyard, cycling in your living room. You've been enjoying rain showers in your bathroom, campfires on your TV screen. You've been counting stars and birds from your window and holding family cookouts in the kitchen. Now, get ready to go. Go on a real vacation. Take the wheel at your nearest RV dealer or at GoRV.com.
You know, were this a kind of a medium-sized shot and pulled out, probably wouldn't put this much into it. But the fact that it's such a big, prominent shot for the whole page and really kind of a look at me now type of shot, really want to put a bit of extra time and effort, love into it. You know, I kind of have a working rule, so to speak, you know, and that is first page and last page need to be really good, you know, or even better, the first couple pages than the last couple pages. Probably put most of your effort into them, and then the double page spreads and splash pages, these money shots, that's where you try and put most of your energy and effort to really take time to shine. And the rest of it you can kind of skate a little bit on, you know, because ultimately you want to give people a good impression when they first open the book. So that's why you want to put a little more effort in the beginning. You want to leave them with a good impression, which is why you want to put more effort in the end. And then any of the money shots like this, you want to put effort in because, you know, they're obviously really important. Stand out. So that kind of little rule of thumb, I think that would also work with, you know, the drawing side of it. I really do. And everything in between, you can probably get a little bit away with because you've established, you've set the tone, you set the mood, set the location. You know, I'm just putting all your energy into making that shine and seeing it be impressive. Then, you know, so that's what people are going to, then people get engrossed in the story, so you can scale back on the less critical stuff. You know, you can do less background, do less, it really does work. I truly believe that. Now that's not final colors. That's just establishing the lighting. And I think that's what I'm going to concentrate now. Just get the lighting established on the rest of this page, and I'll probably call it for this stream. I need to do some emails and stuff. See, I think if I have this as if he's come out into the light, it'll help make this all the more gnarly and impressive. I'm probably going a little too far without filling in, so I may have a bit more errors. Should probably just go ahead and See, making the light a little less, give a little more wiggle and groove helps kind of sell the gnarly nature of the scar. You know, it's not perfect flesh, you know. That's what I want. I want it to look gross. I want it to look like this dude is messed up, and you know, because this is a you know, it's one of those things where this is kind of my Deadpool-esque character, but he wasn't set out initially to have kind of that strange personality. Like, you know, Deadpool tries to be silly and goofy. This, I try to skew this personality more towards a little disturbing and creepy and weird, as opposed to funny. You know, whereas Deadpool would be kind of funny and silly. Like, I want his funny personality to come from his kind of creepiness. It was like, what? And you know, initially he didn't have that. Like that really just came from trying when once I really started getting into it and seeing the art. Like he was a fairly flat two-dimensional character. It was just like, oh, he has this cool scar and he gets this cool helmet. But even his lines, like he had very limited lines, and it was close to becoming almost kind of an intimidating, quiet figure. And it's, you know, and there's a time and place for that, and I love those kinds of characters, but I really didn't want that for him. I wanted him to be I wanted him to have a little more personality, something to really kind of make him memorable. And there was a picture that Gabe drew where when it's an image in the first issue where he's tying up one of the hostages of the ship, and it almost looked like he was taunting, like, oh look, I'm not touching you, and that just really kind of amused me, and I wrote that into the script, and it was just, that got a little bit of reaction of my buddy who was in the office at the time, and it was just kind of, and I knew at that time I still hadn't quite hit the right tone in the issue. It was still like, you know, the tone overall of Sasquatch is fun. Like, I really just want it to be fun.
Do you have Medicaid and Medicare?
And when you read
Get
it,
a
I just want you
top-rated
to
plan with more benefits.
walk
Every
away with a
year,
smile,
Medicare
like, oh man,
evaluates
I really
plans based on
enjoyed
a
that.
5-star rating system.
You know,
United Healthcare is
that's
proud
really
to
my
have been
goal
awarded
behind
5
all
out
of it.
5 stars for the 2020
To
plan
just
year
have a
for
fun,
quality, customer service,
fun
and
story.
more. And we're proud to have WellMed in our network. Get more
And
benefits.
initially,
Call
the
United
drafts
Healthcare at
really took themselves a little too
1-844-201-0074.
seriously. Like, I
CMS
truly
star
believe
rating
that. I think
applies to contract number
I think I was taking myself a little too seriously, because whenever I would go back and reread the
CEO of Rocket Mortgage.
kind of initial document I wrote, kind of the that set the tone for it all, that became the origin story that
when they matter most.
Tyler Kirkland drew 3 pages from.
So now is a great time to call 8338 Rocket.
It just really had the tone I was looking for, and I hadn't recaptured that, and so
Call today at 8338 Rocket or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
part of that came from Crimson Ombre. Part of that came from implementing the captions, the caption boxes that were kind of the thought process of Sasquatch.
Shop safely and save big too with 60%
You know,
off thousands of items. We can't wait to see you at Nordstrom.
kind of helped me say more than the words actually would, because I didn't want Sasquatch to be the character that just talked and talked and talked. You know, I didn't want him to be the silent, you know, like dirty, hairy man with no name hero. You know, I wanted him to have personality. I wanted him to be Jack Burton, but I also didn't want him to be incessantly chatting. You know, because it can be kind of annoying really quickly. And especially if your lead character is incessantly chatting, but never is even really saying, like, everything he's saying that forwards the story is just lost amongst a bunch of other inane dialogue. I think that can end up really working against the character and the story as a whole. So implementing the caption boxes of the thought process kind of helped capture some more of that tone without going too far, I thought. I don't know, you know, maybe somebody else has a differing opinion and you're like, no, I'm totally wrong, I totally botched that. Maybe I did for that person. I think I got it personally. Could it be better? Quite possibly. I don't quite know how. You know? I don't quite know how, but it definitely could be better. Somehow. Somebody's probably got that. It's more or less that. You know? I think we'll call for a stream. It's been 3 hours. I'm gonna go check some emails and return some messages. I'll probably be back on Monday. So, bye.